Seniors, I am Dr. Anya. If you are a woman over the age of 60 and you are quietly suffering from severe vaginal dryness, burning, or endless recurring urinary tract infections, I need you to listen to me very carefully. When you finally gathered the courage to bring this embarrassing symptom up to your doctor, they probably handed you a prescription for another round of antibiotics and told you that this discomfort is simply a normal part of menopause and aging. Clinically speaking, that is a dangerous medical dismissal. What you are experiencing is not just an uncomfortable inconvenience.
It is a condition called vaginal atrophy, and the medical establishment is completely ignoring its most terrifying consequence. It is a massive biological breach in your body's defense system. Ignoring this tissue damage allows dangerous bacteria to leak directly into your bloodstream, triggering a systemic, low-grade inflammation that is actively accelerating the aging of your heart, your brain, and your cells as we speak. Today, we are shattering this taboo. I am going to explain exactly how this hidden inflammation is draining your longevity, and I am going to give you the precise, science-backed protocol to restore your urogenital health and stop the cycle of chronic infections forever. You do not have to accept physical pain as the price of getting older. Pause this video right now, grab a pen and a piece of paper, and get ready to take notes. We are going to rebuild your biological armor today. Let's begin.
To understand why this is a longevity crisis, we must look at what is physically happening inside your body when your estrogen levels plummet after menopause. When you were in your 30s and 40s, the mucosal lining of your urogenital tract was thick, highly elastic, and deeply hydrated. Think of it as a massive, impenetrable brick wall guarding a fortress. It was designed to keep dangerous bacteria out. But as you cross into your 60s and your natural estrogen production shuts down, that tissue undergoes severe starvation. The blood flow decreases, the collagen breaks down, and that thick brick wall thins out until it is as fragile as dry tissue paper. This is what we call vaginal atrophy. Because this tissue is now so incredibly thin and dry, everyday movement, walking, exercising, or sitting for long periods causes microscopic tears. And this is where the true nightmare begins.
Pause. These microtears are an open door directly into your bloodstream. Pathogens and bacteria that normally would have been easily repelled by your body are now leaking straight into your systemic circulation. Your immune system recognizes this breach and goes into a state of constant, low-level panic. It triggers a profound immune response known as chronic systemic inflammation. I want you to imagine systemic inflammation as a slow-burning, invisible fire spreading throughout your entire body. It is the exact same biological fire that hardens your arteries, destroys your joint cartilage, and accelerates cognitive decline in your brain. You are not just dealing with localized dryness or discomfort. You are walking around with an open biological wound that is constantly triggering an immune response, exhausting your cellular energy and drastically aging you from the inside out. And to make matters worse, this exact same structural collapse is the reason why you are suddenly trapped in an endless cycle of urinary tract infections.
Now, let us address the most frustrating symptom of this biological breach: the chronic, recurring urinary tract infections. If you are getting 2, 3, or 4 UTIs a year, your doctor is probably just handing you a prescription for a strong antibiotic and sending you on your way. This is a medical tragedy because they are treating the smoke and completely ignoring the fire. To understand why this is happening, you need to understand your urogenital microbiome. When your tissue was healthy and thick with estrogen, it naturally produced a sugar called glycogen. This glycogen was the primary food source for your protective bacteria, specifically a strain called lactobacilli. These good bacteria act as microscopic soldiers. They eat the glycogen and produce lactic acid, keeping your urogenital tract highly acidic, which makes it absolutely impossible for dangerous bacteria like E. coli to survive.
But after 60, when the estrogen disappears, the glycogen disappears, your microscopic soldiers literally starve to death. When your lactobacilli die off, your local pH level rises. The acidic shield is gone. Suddenly, dangerous bacteria from the digestive tract can easily migrate, multiply rapidly, and travel straight up your urethra into your bladder. That is the true biological cause of your recurrent UTIs. It is a complete collapse of your localized microbiome. And what does the traditional medical system do? They give you an antibiotic. Listen to me, an antibiotic is a biological nuclear bomb. Yes, it will kill the UTI bacteria in your bladder, but it also completely wipes out whatever tiny amount of good lactobacilli you had left in your system, as well as destroying your gut health. By taking that antibiotic, you are guaranteeing that your urogenital tract is completely defenseless against the next bacterial attack. You are trapped in a toxic, endless loop of infection, antibiotic, and immune destruction. To stop this cycle, we have to stop throwing nuclear bombs and start rebuilding the fortress. And that brings us to the most misunderstood clinical tool in senior women's health.
We have established that the root cause of your chronic infections and systemic inflammation is the severe structural collapse of your urogenital tissue. To fix this, we have to rebuild the fortress. And the only biological tool capable of rebuilding that tissue is estrogen. I know exactly what you are thinking. The moment you hear the word estrogen, alarm bells go off. For the past 2 decades, women have been terrified into believing that any form of estrogen therapy will immediately cause cancer. This fear stems from heavily sensationalized studies from the early 2000s regarding systemic hormone replacement therapy. But you must understand the massive clinical difference between systemic hormones and localized estrogen.
When you take a systemic estrogen pill, it passes through your digestive tract, is metabolized by your liver, and floods your entire bloodstream, affecting every organ in your body. But localized estrogen, which comes in the form of specific vaginal creams, tiny suppositories, or rings, is completely different. When you apply localized estrogen directly to the vaginal tissue, it acts almost exclusively on that specific area. The absorption into your systemic bloodstream is practically zero. It is the biological equivalent of putting a deeply hydrating medical ointment on a severe burn on your arm. The medicine heals the burn, but it does not flood your entire internal system. By applying localized estrogen, you are delivering the exact chemical signal those starving cells need. Within a matter of weeks, the blood flow returns. The collagen matrix rebuilds. That fragile, paper-thin tissue physically thickens back into a robust, elastic barrier. And most importantly, as the tissue comes back to life, it begins to naturally produce glycogen again. You are literally setting the table to feed your microscopic soldiers and rebuild your localized immune system. Local estrogen is not something to fear. It is the ultimate biological shield against urogenital aging.
Now that we have dismantled the fear, here is your exact, science-backed clinical protocol to stop the infections, end the discomfort, and shut down the systemic inflammation for good. Step 1. Secure the localized estrogen. You must advocate for yourself. Schedule an appointment with your gynecologist or primary care physician and explicitly ask for a prescription for localized vaginal estrogen. Do not let them brush you off. Tell them you are experiencing severe vaginal atrophy and you want to restore the mucosal integrity. Whether it is a cream, a tablet, or an estrogen ring, this is the non-negotiable foundation of your recovery. Step 2. Repopulate the microbiome. Once the estrogen starts thickening the tissue and producing glycogen, You must immediately introduce the microscopic soldiers to eat it and restore the acidic shield.
But you cannot use a generic gut probiotic from the supermarket. You need highly specific, clinically tested strains that are native to the urogenital tract. Look for high-quality oral probiotics that explicitly contain Lactobacillus rhamnosus and Lactobacillus reuteri. These specific strains are scientifically proven to migrate from the digestive tract to the urogenital area, crowd out the dangerous E. coli bacteria, and permanently break the cycle of chronic UTIs. Step 3. Non-hormonal moisture armor. While the localized estrogen is taking a few weeks to fully rebuild the tissue, you need immediate mechanical relief from the friction and microtears. Throw away the cheap, chemical-laden drugstore lubricants. You need to use a high-quality vaginal moisturizer formulated with hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a naturally occurring molecule in your body that can hold 1,000 times its weight in water. Applying this locally provides deep, immediate cellular hydration, soothing the burning sensation and protecting the tissue from further damage while your biological fortress is being reconstructed.
Seniors, the medical establishment has conditioned you to believe that intense physical discomfort, chronic infections, and the loss of your vitality are just inevitable burdens you must silently carry as a woman over 60. I am here to tell you that is a clinical lie. Vaginal atrophy is a highly treatable biological condition. By restoring your localized estrogen and repopulating your urogenital microbiome, you are not just curing a personal problem, you are physically closing a dangerous biological wound. You are stopping dangerous bacteria from leaking into your bloodstream. You are putting out the fire of systemic inflammation, and you are actively protecting your heart and your brain. It is time to stop suffering in silence. It is time to take back your clinical self-care. I want you to make your vitality pledge right now.
Go down into the comments below and type the powerful words, "I am reclaiming my vitality today." Have you been trapped in the endless cycle of UTI antibiotics, or have you had to fight with a doctor just to get them to listen to your symptoms? Share your story. I read every single comment, and your voice today is the exact validation that another woman needs to finally demand the medical care she deserves. If this masterclass gave you the actual science to protect your longevity and end the pain, hit the like button. Do not let this taboo continue. Share this video with a sister, a friend, or any woman in your life who needs to hear this exact truth. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a week of evidence-based longevity, cellular healing, and female empowerment. I am Dr. Anya. Guard your health, honor your biology, and I will see you in the next video.